Okay, so 3.3 is cosine law. Let me put that where. All right. Now remember with a non-right triangle, we label our triangle. We use ABC, but really it could be anything like LMN, RST, XYZ.
Does it have to be alphabetical letters and orders?
No, it doesn't. It could be anything. It can be symbols, question marks, right? But just remember, uppercase letters represent the angles. Lowercase letters represent the sides, and they're always opposite each other. Okay? Now, with sine law, you need an angle and the opposite side for it to work, right? For cosine law, that's not the case. For cosine law, you either need an angle and the two adjacent sides, or you need all three sides. Okay? Now how it works is, if you're looking for, let's say you're looking for this side here, you would write out the formula like this. Whatever your side is that you're looking for, that's your little a value, okay? And the formula is a squared equals b squared plus c squared. So far, does that look familiar? Yeah, it's Pythagoras. But now we throw this part on. 2 times b times c cosine of that angle. Okay?
So if you had all three, if you had A, C, and B, then you would do that?
If you had like big A, little c, little b, you would do this. And your calculator does all of this. Okay? Oh, and you have a Casio, so it's a little bit different. The Texas ones work really nice for these ones.
I don't want to hear it, Jack.
Don't make fun of them. All right. Now, I'm not going to explain where this formula comes from or anything like that. I'm just going to do a couple of examples and show you how it's done. Okay, once you get the hang of it, the trick is just making sure you punch it into your calculator, right time, right place. Okay? So, first example, I'm just going to do these ones that I did the other day. So we have angle 58, 32, 40. And I want this side here.
And 32 and 40 are the sides?
Yeah. So because this angle here is what I'm given, this here is what I'm looking for, that's my little a. That's what matters the most, is what little a and big A are. The B and the C are interchangeable. I can make this one B or C, and I can do the same to that. It doesn't matter. Okay? So if I'm going to write everything out with my formula here of a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine A, I would do it like this. A squared is what I'm looking for, so I leave it there. I'm going to make 32 my b squared. So 32 squared plus 40 squared minus 2 times 32 times 40 cosine A.
Is cosine A 58?
Oh yeah, 58, sorry. I heard someone coming up from behind me and got nervous. I didn't realize it was just Eve.
Who do you think it was?
I don't know. Boogeyman? Boogeymen? You can never be too sure. I didn't want to have to use my kung fu moves on her though.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't look good if I drop a kid with these deadly weapons.
You have to trigger fire.
Okay.
So you said the question mark is the little a?
Yeah, little a. Whatever side you're looking for, Jackson, is your little a. Okay. Now, The easiest way to go about doing this stuff is to chunk it. All right? Because setting this up is tricky. All you're doing is you're multiplying, squaring, subtracting, and hitting cosine. You've done all these different things at different times with your calculator, but combining it can be a little tricky at times. So I chunk it. I always do this part here together, and then I do this part over here together. So I use my calculator and I punch in 32 squared plus 40 squared. And that's going to give me 26, 24. And then I use my calculator and I go cosine 58 times 40 times 32 times 2.
-2 or just 2?
-2, yeah. And that's going to make this -1357. Okay.
How did you estimate that?
I did it the other day. It's right there.
I was like, yeah, that's a decimal. There's no way.
Yeah, I rounded it. I just rounded it for simplicity. You can leave your answers to one decimal place. It's totally fine. Okay, now, so that's kind of the tricky part to these questions. Now you just subtract the two numbers. So if I do that, it's going to be 12. Oh, I messed up on my 8. 12, 6, 8.
Oh, no.
Okay, and then I take the square root of both sides. Or just the 12, 6, 8. Okay. And that'll do real quick in my head as well.
Oh yeah, just human calculator.
35.6-ish. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's probably gonna get way harder, isn't it?
It gets a little bit trickier with the next one I'm going to do.
Yeah, of course it does.
But not too bad. And then it's just practice. Like 3.3 is cosine law. 3.4 in the textbook is either sine law or cosine law. You have to figure out which one to use. And then chapter 4 is all the same again. So we spend a lot of time on this. Right, guys?
Yeah.
These guys confirm it. These guys are still working on it, right? So it,
Wait, like, are they the exact same things for?
well, with chapter 4, it's acute triangle, so all the angles are smaller than 90. In chapter 4, there's an obtuse angle. So one angle's bigger than 90, but then it's all the same.
I have a question. Do you edit your videos after?
No. Why? Oh, whatever, I don't care.
Second example.
Yeah, we're going to do a second one right now.
Should I write it down?
Yes. This is where it gets trickier. For the next example,
Yeah, I want to do our first example.
No, I have one of those. I have 2 there, and they both have.
okay, now for this one, I'm given 3 sides but no angle.
Is that 19.5?
Yeah, 19.5. Eve, is it a? Can you move on to the next question until I get there? What's that?
I'm stuck on that one too.
This here? Oh, the next one is okay. So there's a few there. Okay. So now when you're given all 3 sides and you're looking for an angle, you have to be careful again, because now you're looking for the big A in the equation. So you have to make sure you get the right little a. And since I'm looking for this angle, the side adjacent or opposite the angle, which is this guy, that's my little a. Okay?
What do you mean yes or no?
Well, remember my formula is this.
Okay, yeah, because the top one is the big A.
Right.
So later on, instead of cosine, Yeah. Square A.
Right, you're gonna have big A there, but this has to be my little a. Either one can be B or C.
I got 20 squared equals 10 squared plus 19.5 squared minus 2 times 10 times 19.5 cosine A.
Good. That's exactly what you're gonna do. So, 19.5 squared. Now, there's a huge variety of different ways that you can do this.
What's the fastest square?
We're not going to do that right off the hop.
All in one.
Yeah, you could do it all in one step, and I'll show you that at the end. But I'm just going to show you how it works at first, okay? First thing I'm going to do is, just like before, I'm going to figure out what this here is and what that there is. Okay? Oh, and I'll do the 20 squared as well. So if I work that out, 20 squared is 400. If I combine these two terms, it's 480.25. This over here is 390 cosine A. All right. Just keep practicing, guys. You'll get there.
We can't even slow.
Well, congratulations. Okay, so far so good. Now, the tricky part is bringing everything over because I'm solving for A now, right? So when you're looking for an angle, you know you're going to have to use your shift cosine -1 button. But first thing I do is I'm going to bring this over. And to do that, you have to subtract it because it's positive. So it becomes 400 minus 480.25 equals -390 cosine A. Okay.
So you have to write that part.
You don't have to write all this part out. If you just want to figure it out, you can. I'm just going to show the steps because it's what I did over here. So if I work that out, it becomes -80.25 equals -390 cosine A. Now, it's okay that this number here is negative because this here is also negative, so it's going to work out. Now, this is the part where a lot of people make the mistake. They think that they can just add the 390 to the other side, but you can't because -390 here is being multiplied to the cosine A. So to bring it over, the opposite of multiplication is division. Right? Were you going to say that?
No, I was going to say nothing.
Oh, okay. So I divide both sides by -390. Like that. These cancel. Now, -80 divided by -390 equals 0.2057. Jackson Furby, am I going too fast?
No, I'm just writing it all down.
Okay.
You have to do that many decimal places?
I go to 4, yeah. And now that I have a decimal number and it equals cosine A, you take the negative cosine of that, and that'll give you your angle. Okay?
It'd be 78.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you do?
So you take the, out of this you go cosine -1 button.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't get it, Jackson. You don't have a Casio.
Calculator smack that. So 78.1 degrees equals A. Okay. And then here are the questions to try from that one. Okay. Try 3.3, Mr. Furby.
I thought you added 15.